Luigi was with me that day. That's right. That's my boy Luigi. Oh my God, no one cares, Dr. J. Maybe you resubscribe too much. You ever think about that? 34, you're coming up on 3 years. That's crazy. I know you've been subscribed longer than that, but a 3-year unbroken chain, I guess. By the way, you guys can still talk on Telegram or whatever. I'm just not there. I mean, I don't care if you guys are. There's still mods there and people hanging out there, but you guys are more than welcome to. I got half of them. I got the first one.
What you think about when you're born into a fire. Let them burn it out. Sell them to the rich.
I might be Will's neighbor.
They wanna let the world decay. They tell us lies and fade away.
Who called it? Said it was a Glock with a suppressor. I know they're calling it a ghost gun, but it's basically a kit Glock. Seems like somebody I know. Wonder who that was. Right, you don't have to curse to seem important, okay? and his name was Luigi.
Hey daddies, it's me, the Linda Binda from TikTok. I wanted to make this video because I wanted to thank you for watching Cold Beer Confessionals with Will Bird. I think that's just incredible. I've watched a few episodes and I'm just like very intrigued. But you know what I'm most intrigued in is Big Daddy's meat stick. I heard that it's very thick, like a good old German sausage. You know, Linda and her coochie loves that. Oh, never mind. Let's not go there. Anyways, I hope you have a good show and enjoy it as you can. There's a lot of weird things that go on, especially when it comes from the realm of Linda Bindaland. So, enjoy the show. Thanks for watching. Peace out.
Welcome everybody. I'm Will Bird. This is Cold Beer Confessional. Thank you for joining us. What's happening? I haven't updated you guys doing some work at the campground, trying to find that spring that ties into the pond that almost buried the Mini X. Filling in some holes. The machine goes back. We've had it for a month, coming up on Friday. The machine goes back on Friday, and then we're probably going to wait till after the holidays to get any other equipment or do anything because everybody will be busy. We got a couple things to go over tonight. What do you guys want to go over some stuff? Let's see. Let's duplicate this. Pull this over here first. You know how we have our CBC book club, and the reading is due today. You should have read the Patriot series. Thank you, Derek Johnson. That was our latest read. So there you go. Let's check it out. Thank you, Derek Johnson by Beth Marie. Copyright 2023. Ooh. Real cool, kinda hot. Let's sing together. And apparently he's also a farmer. Or he sings with farmers. I don't know, the two brick walls is kind of confusing. But okay. Derek was born in Mobile, Alabama. And lived in 8 states. He has 2 degrees. And was a 14 Sierra air and missile defense crew member for the United States Army. What? Derek has been playing guitar since the age of 5 and finds it to be super therapeutic. He has even offered to write any veteran out there their story in song. What a guy. The fake brick walls like Phil. The most fantastic news Derek brought us is about Donald Trump still being the real president. It's simply law and orders. It's happening even if we don't see it. This is what they're teaching your kids, guys. You remember how many fucking crazy ass Republicans wanted to ban books that had homosexuals in them? Now they're teaching you that it's real even if you can't see it. And Donald Trump is 20 years old and 110 pounds. Trump is commander-in-chief, and by executive orders and military laws, he's still in charge. Only the president can federalize the National Guard to active duty. This is, I guess, Trump with a bunch of so he's got Air Force. What? He's got Air Force stripes in some type of green camo in front of the world. Little Hitler collars. He got shoulder boards for what? And Derek is his Nazi general, apparently. President Trump issued 3 national emergencies that Congress failed to address, which made 3 national security breaches. The only person who could terminate a national emergency is the president when Congress fails to address them. You think Nick Fuentes is leading a cult? He's the head of the Groypers, and yeah, he was arrested. We talked about it the other day. He got arrested for battery on that woman that knocked on his door. Some woman literally, like, yeah, she was there to, like, troll and clown on him, which a lot of people are saying, like, she's asking for it. But she was just standing in front of his house to see if that's really where he lived because he got doxxed. And some other woman came up and said, you should go see if he's home. So she walked to his door to knock on his door, not to shoot him or not to attack him or didn't have anything in her hands, which is stupid. I'll agree with that. I wouldn't want somebody coming up my door. But what Nick did is even worse. Like, don't answer the door. If you have to, call the cops, right? You're a public figure, and you've just been doxxed, and some lady's showing up at your house, right? Don't answer the door or yell out the window to go away, or you're going to call the cops, or just call the cops. Before she can even knock or ring the doorbell, he whips open the door, pepper sprays her, grabs her phone, and shoves her away down the steps. There's a video of it, too. It's wild. But it's kind of what you'd expect Nick to do because he's like this really closeted, flamboyant homosexual. And, yeah, it's like, get out of my face, bitch. And then, yeah, that kind of deal. So, yeah, he did. He's ahead of America First, the Groypers. I don't know if I'd call it a cult. But that's the reason he's popular. That's the reason he's popular is because everybody knows he's the head of the Groypers. This gave Trump emergency powers and war powers, which he extended by federalizing the National Guard. Who the fuck is this guy? It's like a Ken doll, which I think Derek Johnson's smooth in the front. Another executive order declared a national emergency and an election fraud committee. Uh-oh. Radicalizing your kids. Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, God. Everything's wrong. Oh, God. President Trump stepped down as president on January 29th, 2021, and stepped up as commander-in-chief. So he's not president. He's commander-in-chief. Military law, but you told us he was still president. Military law was founded first and can act without Congress. What? 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 I did get my headlights working on my one wheel, by the way. We are witnessing the most biblically, monumental, historical, covert operation ever. Like Derek says, it's simply laws and orders. It's happening no matter what. To follow Derek, go to Rattletrap 1776. Why would you include this in a children's book? Would you want a child? So what is this, from like 8 to fucking 13 or something probably? Like it's full sentence. It's like paragraphs, small paragraphs. Maybe even like 8 to 12 or something. What would you want an 8 to 12-year-old on Telegram? To follow Derek, go to Rattletrap 1776 on Telegram. Rattletrap is a good name for him. That my dad used to use that to describe people that would never shut up. Mostly me and my siblings. We'd get on his nerves. He'd be like, "You're just rattling." That's what he'd say. On Telegram, Derek Johnson and 1776 Nation, the real one, not the one by the Space Force man. Derek Johnson Country on Instagram, www.the1776nation.com. Made in the USA in Moni, Illinois, 6 December 2024. Beth Marie has 6 daughters and 5 granddaughters so far. She lives on the beach in Malibu with her husband, Paul, and their cat, Tittles. This is the author. She is the author of Happy Trump, Melania Rules, Go, Baron, Go. I like my suitcase. Can I go to school now? The Think for Yourself series, the Patriot series, and Love, Joy, Trump. quite the author, to be honest with you. And there you go. Thank you, Derek Johnson from the Patriot series. I think we already found the thank you, Scott McCay, right? This guy is the guy that has been telling people for months that, well, at first he was saying Donald Trump was the president, still the president, and Joe Biden was fake. Then he was telling people that Donald Trump wasn't the president, that he's the commander-in-chief, and the president and the commander-in-chief are two separate offices, which they're explicitly not. Then he told people one time that Donald Trump was never the president. He was never president. It's because it's a military operation. He's only been the commander-in-chief. He also told people that he was sponsored by a radio station out of Oklahoma to go to Gitmo and interview and set in on the trials of the Democratic pedophiles that were being held at Gitmo. When we contacted the guy OPM over Gitmo, over going into and out of Gitmo for journalistic privileges, the guy called him a joke and said that he would never get in to Gitmo. So, kind of hard to argue with that. Clearly, he knows what he's doing. That's all I can say. That's all I can say. The man, the myth, the legend, Derek Johnson. Thank you, everybody. Laws and orders. So, they caught our guy, Luigi. Some stupid motherfucker at McDonald's called him in. Yeah, so they're mad about a rigged election, claiming that Biden secretly won by rigging the election, but also claim that the military basically put Trump in charge by cheating in the election. But they couldn't. They did it. They didn't do it in 2020, but they did it again in 2024, I guess. Prosecutors on Monday charged a man with murder in the killing of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. The suspect, Luigi Mangione. You could have given me a list of every English name in the world in 1,000 years, and I would have never guessed Luigi Mangione. Wild. He was arrested Monday in Altoona, Pennsylvania on firearms charges and was later charged by New York prosecutors with murder and several weapons charges in relation to the deadly shooting of Thompson outside of a Manhattan hotel last Wednesday. Mangione was inside a McDonald's in Altoona when a customer alerted an employee that they recognized him from images of the person of interest in the case, and the employee called local police, officials said. Responding officers who questioned him said Mangione was behaving suspiciously and found him in possession of multiple fraudulent IDs, a U.S. passport, and clothing, including a face mask consistent with those seen on the suspected gunman. Among the false IDs was a fake New Jersey's driver's license consistent with the one police say the shooting suspect used to check into the hostel on the Upper West Side of Manhattan before Thompson was killed. Now, that's kind of stupid, right? He should have had a set of IDs pre-engagement and scrubbed those and had a set of IDs post-engagement, right? So pre-engagement, and then you burn all those. Those are done. And then post-engagement, you're running on new IDs. Police say, that's where we got it. West Side on Manhattan before Thompson was killed. Police also discovered a firearm. It's a Glock. I know the news is calling it a ghost gun. So basically, if it is a ghost gun is just a scary word they use, like when they say assault rifle. So if it is a ghost gun, it's basically just a Glock clone that you can either get, and you can either order it to your house without a background check, but you have to like finish the machining in it, or there's only one part of the gun that's serialized that has to go through a FFL, okay, and that's a lower receiver. So if you can produce a lower receiver some way, whether that's 3D printing or machining or whatever you want to do, or get an 80% completed and then machine the last 20% out of it, that would technically be a ghost gun. Are they scary? Not as much as the news wants you to think they're scary, okay? The news wants you to think they're scary because somebody's pumping these out and just giving them out left and right to school shooters. But honestly, like the people that produce them at home, nobody's mass producing these things, right? They're like one or two that people produce for themselves. If you produce enough that you start selling them or distributing them, you have to get an FFL anyways. There's already a law that covers that. I've had a couple guns like this that I bought as kits and finished the kits. So I used to buy AK parts kits, imported AKs that were basically cut in half. Part of the receiver was missing, and then I would take the receiver, I would fold it up and make the lower receiver from sheet metal and have an AK. I probably made 10 over, 5 or 6 years. And are they that scary? No, not. It's a lot easier ways to get a gun than manufacturing it at your house. People think that with a 3D printer, you just like 3D print and boom, there's a gun and you could go kill somebody. It's not like that. It's not anywhere close to that. But here we are. It was a Glock, just like I said. It was a standard suppressor, just like I said. And I can almost guarantee you we'll find out it doesn't have a Nielsen device, just like I said. Police also discovered a firearm suppressor which appeared to match those used in the shooting. New York City police commissioner Jessica Tisch said, in addition to a handwritten document that speaks to both his motivation and mindset. So there's a couple things going on here. One, he had a back surgery, and a lot of people that knew him are saying after his back surgery he changed a lot. So he had a back surgery. There's an X-ray photo that he posted. It has a bunch of like pins in his back. Not to mention, the police outright said that they think motivation was a loved one. So I think his grandmother died in 2013. His grandfather died in 2017. That a loved one that was struggling with their health and insurance, and that was part of the motivation. At this time, he is believed to be our person of interest in the brazen, targeted murder of Brian Thompson. Court documents in New York show Mangione is charged with murder, 2 counts of criminal possession of a loaded firearm, 1 count of criminal possession of forged instrument, and 1 count of third-degree criminal possession of a weapon. He is also facing 5 charges in Pennsylvania: forgery, firearms not to be carried without a license, tampering with records or identification, and possessing instruments of a crime, and false identification of law enforcement. So apparently he gave a fake ID to law enforcement. The gun found in Mangione may have been 3D printed ghost gun, according to NYPD Police Chief Detectives Joseph Kinney, a law enforcement official with knowledge of the investigation previously. Now listen, just because these fucking cops tell you it's a ghost gun because it sounds scary, and they say it may be a ghost gun, they also told you it was a well rod, okay? They also told you it was the B&T Series 6. It wasn't, right? It didn't even have the fucking action to be a well rod style pistol. A law enforcement official with a knowledge of investigation previously told CBS News that police believe the suspect may have used a B&T Station 6 pistol to carry out the shooting. Investigators had visited gun dealers in Connecticut looking for where it may have been purchased. Now, again, that was wrong. It's obvious. You can just look at the video and know that's wrong. A manhunt continued for days for the gunman who shot and killed Thompson, and what authorities said appeared to have been a targeted attack. Police previously said they were referring to the individual seen in the surveillance footage as person of interest in the deadly shooting because of a lack of concrete evidence in the case. Such search efforts in New York City have taken place on land and water as investigators seek to find murder weapons, while the U.S. Marshal Service has worked. He probably should have burnt that gun too, right? Like burn all the fake IDs, whatever you used, burn it. Anything that's got the same name, burn it. The gun, burn it, and have a second set. Marshal Service has worked to determine where the person boarded the bus that took him to New York City before the shooting. Dive teams with the New York City Police Department returned to Central Park Monday and cordoned off the lake behind Bethesda Fountain, a landmark, after they were seen near that area throughout the weekend. A New York City hostel where photos were taken of what police at the time described as a person of interest with his mask pulled down as he talked to a woman at the front desk. Is that the only picture they've got with him with the mask down is at the desk? He has been the focus of the investigation. New York City police interviewed the woman.
Robertson 81 gifted Space Force Chuck a subscription.
Oh, thank you for the gifted sub. Hey, what's up, Chuck?
81 gifted a tier 1 sub to Space Force Chuck. They have given 47 gift subs in the channel.
Thank you very much for the gifted sub. New York police interviewed the woman who told officers she asked to see his pretty smile. They were having a flirtatious moment, and he pulls it down. Damn it, his dick got him in trouble. And he gives a big smile And that one informal moment between the two human beings remains, at this moment, the most significant clue. Holy shit. To date in this whole case, said John Miller, former New York City Police Department Deputy Commissioner for Intelligence and Counterterrorism. A person familiar with the matter told CBS News on December 6th that investigators believed the person of interest was no longer in New York City and may have boarded a bus to Manhattan at a Manhattan bus terminal. Joseph Kinney, the NYPD's chief of detectives, told reporters at a briefing that investigators did not know what bus the man may have taken that same day. So the bus that he arrived on started in Atlanta, but if you've never rode a Greyhound bus, it's the worst fucking experience ever. I've been on a Greyhound bus multiple times. One time the military put me on a Greyhound bus, and the other couple times a company put me on a Greyhound bus. And you stop at the reason it takes like fucking 15 hours to do a 2-hour drive is you stop at every little podunk ass town along every fucking town. It's insane to ride a Greyhound. I know it's cheap, and I know that's why people do it. But if you have any other choice, never, ever, 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 ever take the bus. That same day, the NYPD said it found a backpack in Central Park and was being analyzed to determine if it belonged to suspected gunman in the shooting. CBS News learned on December 7th that the recovered backpack contained a jacket. A person familiar with the investigation told CBS News the jacket was not the one the suspect was wearing in the shooting. CBS News obtained a photo of the backpack from NYPD. There's the backpack, and that's a very identifiable backpack too. It's bad when you get put on I know it's because it's cheap and whatever. Maybe you're like fucking running away for something or just broke. I understand if you have to take it that way. I'm not judging you if that's all you can afford. But if there's any other way to fucking rent a car, 5 people go in together and rent a fucking car, like anything. I would take my one wheel before I take a fucking bus. The backpack also contained Monopoly money, the person said. NYPD divers were seen searching the lake, Monopoly money, in Central Park on Saturday afternoon, and sources told CBS News New York that they were looking for a murder weapon. The FBI, which is assisting the NYPD in its investigation, offered $50,000 reward for information leading to the arrest. Mangione was charged with the murder. Let's go over here. So, a thread. Everything you need to know about Luigi Mangione. He was an Ivy League student, so he graduated University of Pennsylvania. His GitHub account links to a Facebook account named App Roar Studios. So when he was at University of Pennsylvania, he founded a club, a game development club at University of Pennsylvania, and it is still there, right? They still have the same. They still have the same club. They still to date, but he founded it. And he's into software development engineering. So AppRoar seems to be his game studio, and they make like games for like phones, right? One of them is called Pivot Plane, which is the banner for that. I don't know. Let's see if that's still up. I don't see it. Anyways, I don't know if this is active or not, but at some point they developed cell phone games. He often reposted tweets about anxiety. We can see these tweets that say, everyone thinks the most important mental health treatments are therapy, medication, self-care. They're all wrong. One treatment is 4 times more effective than all of them. Here's what it is and the insane science behind it. So obviously that was a post about mushrooms. Here's a great summary of the anxious generation in tweets. Thank you. I've just finished reading at John Haight's best-selling new book, The Anxious Generation. I think it may be the most important nonfiction book of the decade, and today I want to tell you why. He retweeted that. He was the valedictorian at his high school, which is someone said his high school is a private school, and tuition is $20,000 per year.
Well set. Congratulations. Thank you.
So there's this cool thing on. Somebody said cross country one wheel. That would be an amazing, have like a tent or something, like an ultra light camping setup, and go cross country on a one wheel and try to document it. I guess that would be pretty cool. they do have this cool thing on the app where people that have like, it could be like your house and you have an outdoor outlet, or it could be like a public outlet, like somewhere out like the town has or a building has on the back of it or whatever, where you can log where people can stop and charge. So like if you're looking at the map on the One Wheel app, it'll show where you're at and it'll show you the closest charging stations.
Headmaster Smythe, Mr. Hubeck, members of the Board of Trustees, family, friends, faculty, and fellow students, good afternoon. Thank you all for being here to celebrate Gilman's 116th Founders
By the way, this whole video was a commercial for BlackRock.
Day. I'm honored to be speaking to you all today on behalf of the Gilman class of 2016. When I started writing the speech, I talked to several students and teachers and asked how they would describe the class of 2016.
What's on the page?
Many of the students characterized our class as inventive, in both imagination and initiative. At the same time, several teachers reminded me of our class's commitment to Gilman and its traditions. I came to realize...
Oh, real quick, we'll finish watching this. But while Chuck's here, I want to read an article, if he's still here. Do I still have it open? Listen to this fucking article. Listen to this fucking article that came out of The Economist. This has nothing to do with the shooting. Listen to this fucking article that came out of The Economist. American veterans now receive absurdly generous benefits. An enormous rise in disability payments may complicate debt reduction efforts. Donald Trump delights in projecting strength, meaning he loves America's armed forces. During his first term, the president-elect signed legislation to spend more on defense before proclaiming that he had accomplished the military. On the campaign trail, he doubled down, vowing further increases in defense spending and promising to tackle recruitment shortfall. Yet he also wants to cut government waste and has hired Elon Musk to lead Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE. When it comes to the Department of Veterans Affairs, these two instances may be in tension. The department's budget has surged over the past 2 decades, rising from $86 billion in today's dollars, 2.6% of the federal budget in 2000, to $336 billion, 5% of today's budget this year. Can someone tell me why there might be a drastic increase in veterans benefits from 2020 to 2024? We fought a war for 20 fucking years, starting in 2001. Like we didn't have shit from like Vietnam all the way up to 2000. And then we fought a war, not only a war to where the regular army, the reserves, and the National Guard were all used as an active component for 20 fucking years. With people seeing more deployments than there have ever been in any fucking war. Because none of these wars have lasted 20 fucking years. It now receives almost 3 times as much as the Department of Transportation. And it's still only 5% of our budget. Remarkably, this boom has occurred despite a nearly 1/3 decline in the veteran population, which has fallen from 26 million to 18 million annual spending per veteran. As a consequence, has risen 6-fold. Not to mention, there is no fucking front line in the war anymore, right? A fucking IED is fucking to whom it may concern. It's not like we have infantry up here and we have fucking scouts, we have artillery and shit, and then in the back, you know, we're hanging out in fucking Europe, drinking a beer and listening for air raid sirens. Everybody was in the war for 20 fucking years. Mr. Musk is zeroing in on discretionary spending, which includes programs such as the department's medical services, but the main driver of spending surge is mandatory outlays for disability compensation. Between 2000 and 2024, such payments ballooned from $26 billion in today's prices to $159 billion. Again, from 2000, why is he leaving out that 9/11 happened? And we went to war for 20 fucking years. It seems like Like we had, you can't count Desert Shield, Desert Storm, all that shit, right? We had Vietnam and then nothing, right? And then in 2001, we go to war with active Army, the National Guard, and the reserves, all acting as an active component of the Army. Everybody's getting fucking deployed for 20 years. And then they're worried that the benefits went up for disability. Wait till you see the last line of this article. It made me so mad, I thought about treating this guy like a healthcare CEO. Last year alone, it saw a 17% jump in the department's latest budget request forecast that compensation will soar to $185 billion over the next 2 years. The current system was introduced in the First World War. It provides tax-free monthly payments to soldiers who were injured or sick. Owing to their service from 1960 to 2000, roughly 9% of veterans qualified for payments, typically for ailments such as hearing loss or burns. The department assigns a rating from 0 to 100% based on the severity of disabilities. In 2000, the average rating was 30%. Monthly payments averaged to the equivalent of $975 today. Few qualified for the top tier. The modern program bears little resemblance to its original form. This year, 6 million veterans, or a third of the total, qualified for payments with an average monthly benefit of $2,200. Veterans may file claims for an unlimited number of disabilities and appeal against decisions as often as they wish. God forbid you could appeal against fucking decisions. The average rating has climbed above 60%, and 1 in 4 disabled veterans now receives a once rare 100% rating. Such a designation ensures a generous $4,000 a month payment for life. Generous. It's not even the median household income. It's barely better than the median single income. With no conditions attached. That's not actually true. In fact, it takes years. Almost everybody you know that gets a disability through the VA is on temporary. It takes years of showing no improvement or getting worse and seeking treatment and going to the meetings and fighting against the VA to get permanent and total. Starting at the age of 25, a former soldier could earn well over $2 million in present value terms. Why has this happened? From 2001, the department began to broaden its list of presumptive conditions where officials automatically assume the problem is service-related. Yeah, the reason that if you've been in a combat zone, we always assume, because paperwork falls through the cracks, right? Reports don't get filed. Stuff is incredibly hard to fucking look up. I was in this firefight with this guy, and we were being shot at, right? Now listen to this. To include ailments such as type 2 diabetes, allowing any veteran with a disease to qualify for compensation. The reasoning for such expansion is not always robust. For instance, the department funded a study that found only limited evidence linking an herbicide exposure in Vietnam to type 2 diabetes. An herbicide. So he's going to gloss over this line. For instance, a department-funded study found only limited evidence linking herbicide exposure in Vietnam to type 2. He's talking about Agent Orange. As an herbicide with limited evidence. You know how fucking bad Agent Orange is? And he's going to gloss over it as an herbicide? In 2022, President Joe Biden's PACT Act expanded eligibility further, with illnesses such as asthma and chronic rhinitis gaining approval, as some soldiers had picked up the conditions from burn pits in Afghanistan and Iraq. Yes, and we fought for this for fucking years. They had us burning human shit and trash in burn pits, and it gave people fucking lung cancer. We probably shouldn't have been doing that. Once on the payroll, veterans usually remain beneficiaries for life. The stigma around collecting payments has faded in recent decades. Isn't that what we want? Isn't that what we want? You earned it. There shouldn't be stigma. Like, it took me 10 fucking years. 10 years after I left the service to go see a therapist and pursue getting my disability. Because I knew there were people more fucked up than me that weren't doing it. And I had fucking guilt around it. It took me 10 fucking years. And now they're like, oh, the stigma has lessened, so... Online videos with tips about how to boost your disability rating are widespread. Yeah, because the system is fucked. It's so hard to navigate. It is common for veterans to start on the program at 50% disability rating for, say, sleep apnea linked to their service stress, only to then add more disabilities to have a rating increase to 100% within a few years. It's a program that helps a lot of people who deserve it, but getting on the program becomes an escalator to higher disability ratings and compensation. Once you qualify, you have an incentive not to get better. Those lazy-ass fucking disabled veterans. Those lazy-ass disabled veterans out here just soaking up 5% of the budget to rein in the cost. Now listen to the... Hold on. Let me read this one first. It's unclear if the spending is even benefiting veterans. Research, Mr. Dugan and co-authors finds that disability compensation has reduced employment, with 1 in 5 new recipients leaving the workforce after the change in 2001, as nearly 2 million additional working-age men have gone on the roll since then. This implies that 400,000 may have been discouraged from work. A study in 2022 by David Silver, then of Princeton University, and Jonathan Zhang of the McMaster University found that extra compensation had failed to boost veterans' mental and physical health. Do you think the extra compensation is to make me feel better about being fucked up? Do you think the money that feeds my children and keeps them warm in the winter is to make me feel better about it? I didn't expect it to boost my mental health. I expected it to pay my fucking bills because I came back all fucked up. Indeed, suicide rates have increased relative to the comparable non-veterans. Maybe that has nothing to do with disability. Suicide rates have to do with disability payments. Now listen to this last fucking paragraph. To rein in costs and focus on the department's mission, policymakers could take a page from the Congressional Budget Office's recommendations. The nonpartisan scorekeeper advises narrowing eligibility for disability compensation of veterans with service-connected conditions, lowering benefits for some veterans, and introducing a means test. Reducing payments to former soldiers will never be popular, but it would be wise. America's veteran obsession has gone too far. Fucking wild, dude. Wild. Leave out, call Agent Orange an herbicide. Leave out that we went to war for 20 fucking years with even the National Guard and Reserve components. Leave out that it was a non-traditional war where everybody saw fucking missiles and rockets and fucking IEDs and pop shots and everything else. And then just be like, hey, we're too obsessed with veterans. Fuck them. Fuck them. Let's get down to cutting costs. That's what we need to do. Wild. This article appeared in Finance and Economics section of the print edition under the headline, The Price of Patriotism. Fucking wild, dude. From The Economist this week. Get fucked. That's all I can say. Get fucked. This is just crazy. I don't give a damn if everybody's fucking milking it. You can't go in there with nothing wrong and get money, right? They have to find something. You have to have medical documentation that you have some type of ailment. Then you have to make sure it's service connected, right? It has to be connected to your service. You can't, have bad hearing because you worked in construction and get, or whatever. Or drop something on your leg at work and then say, oh, I did it when I was in the service. Like, you have to have service connection. I don't give a damn if they're all fucking milking it after that. That's enough of a test. And it's a hurdle to jump through. It's fucking complicated as hell. I still haven't got mine fucking fixed. Like, I should be at a higher rating, and I'm not most of the time because I just get aggravated and give up. Because that's the way the system's designed, for you to fucking give up, to stop fucking with it. I don't know. This is just crazy. And we're all crying about the United Healthcare CEO when United Healthcare made $23 billion last year. But 5% of our budget's too much for the veterans now. It's fucking wild. I couldn't believe it when I saw that shit. Couldn't believe it.
That both views are correct. The class of 2016 is truly defined by its inventive, pioneering mentality that accompanies a strong commitment to Gilman tradition. Throughout its time here at Gilman, the class of 2016 has been coming up with new ideas and challenging the world around it. By selling a Chick-fil-A during lunch, arguably the staple of our class, provides a great example. In our sophomore year, when brainstorming ways to fundraise, we didn't just settle for the usual methods of selling spirit shirts and Christmas trees. In addition to this, we did what seemed impossible given the tight schedule of the school day, and began shuttling dozens of Chick-fil-A sandwiches to Gilman between assembly and lunch. Soon, we were selling over 100 Chick-fil-A sandwiches each day, and what became likely one of the most successful class fundraisers in Gilman's history. But our ability to come up with new ideas didn't start then. I've noticed it as long as I've been here, even in my very first year as a sixth grader. If any of you have ever...
I think this is like an all-boys, like, private school. I'm pretty sure I heard $20,000 of the tuition.
On Gilman's campus before school starts, you would have noticed that every morning, rain or shine, the turf is filled with middle school students playing soccer, football, and frisbee. That tradition was actually started by the class of 2016. As many of you know, Gilman Middle School offers not one, but 2 recesses per day. But for the class of 2016, that wasn't enough. So, as sixth graders, rather than sitting in the hallway...
Oh, 40K. Thank you. Maybe you're right.
An extra morning.
Maybe it was per semester. I saw 20K. Maybe
before the morning even started. And now, 7 years later, that morning recess remains as a regular part of every school day. Of course, this isn't anything revolutionary, but it shows that even early on, the class of 2016 was challenging the world around it. Having great ideas, however, isn't enough to innovate. The class of 2016's inventiveness also stems from its incredible courage to explore the unknown and try new things. Just look at a few highlights from our senior year. This April, 5 seniors performed in Gilman's spring musical, The Addams Family, all of whom had no prior musical experience. 3 seniors, Jeremy Booth, Gus Meny, and Jake Goodwin, blended lead roles, while Tommy Morey and Chris Wolf helped put on the show that I doubt any of us will forget. How about this winter, when Kevin Lang delivered a senior speech? As Kevin moved to America and joined our class in 9th grade, English isn't his first language. But that didn't stop him from delivering a both hilarious and thought-provoking speech about his transition to the United States.
It's weird the kid would be valedictorian and everything. I don't know.
Saunders leading Gilman's first-year cybersecurity team.
Luigi Mangione. Look at this guy.
Even competing against hundreds of veteran teams, the Gilman squad managed to advance to state and then regional championships. All of these endeavors took a huge amount of courage. They demonstrate that the class of 2016 truly has the fearlessness to explore new things and the obvious ability to excel. But as inventive as the class of 2016 is, our class was able to explore the...
Hell, fucking the goddamn 100% service-connected disability is only $48,000 a year.
While also preserving the old. Just look back at the most significant and magical night of our senior year, the 100th annual Gilman McDonough football game. After hundreds of hours of preparation, our seniors led the Gilman team to victory. Competing in the second oldest football rivalry in the state of Maryland, however, they represented not just this year's team, but Gilman as an institution and all the alumni that preceded them. So the class of 2016 not only explored new frontiers, but also maintained Gilman's most important traditions. I think this combination of preservation and exploration is what Gilman is all about. Gilman maintains its classic core values by cultivating minds, body.
I know some people do VA disability and Social Security disability, and more power fucking to them, dude. Especially when we're talking about combat veterans that have been overseas. They got fucked up overseas.
In spirit and students, but also champions an environment of acceptance and diversity, while excelling in its technological endeavors. This fusion is such a strong part of Gilman, it's even evident in its physical geography. Just look at the construction outside Gilman, or outside. Gilman is actively rebuilding itself, but its brand new fields sit next to classic buildings like Cary Hall. Further, these new constructions, for example, Sotier Stadium, bear with them Gilman's rich history in their names. So it's no surprise that the class of 2016 picked up this ability to explore both new and old, and it's no surprise they were able to achieve all they did this year, these last few years as well. But it wasn't just Gilman as an institution that shaped our experience here. The people in our lives, especially our parents and teachers, had such huge roles as well. The parents here today, first off, sending us to Gilman was far from a small financial investment. I'd like to personally thank each of you for sending your sons here, as I can't imagine the class of 2016 without any one of these men on stage. Further, thank you for all the time and love you put into our lives. You've instilled values in us, fed and clothed us, and simply been there for us every step of the way. I'd also like to thank every Gilman teacher and faculty member here today throughout all 3 divisions of the school. While the events and accomplishments I've mentioned in the speech are meant to highlight the imagination and courage of the class of 2016, these occurrences also drew heavily from your efforts. Our imagination draws from your inspiration, and our courage largely depends on your encouragement in the classroom, on the fields, and on the stage. So parents and faculty, thank you for all you have done for us. Today is as much an achievement for you as it is for us. As I conclude my speech, I have to remember that valedictory, by definition, is a farewell. We seniors have been hiding from it all year, and I've even been avoiding it in my speech. But now it's time to face the truth. Our time as Gilman students has come to an end. It seems like just yesterday that we were freshmen, having tie wars and playing computer games in CT20, but now we're moving on. Just like we've done these past few years, we'll be exploring the unknown, whether that be attending colleges across the country, traveling the world during gap years, or fulfilling military service in foreign countries. As we embrace the new, however, we won't forget the old. Our friendships, values, and memories from Gilman will always stay with us. So, to the class of 2016, a kind of class that only comes around once every 50 years. It's been an incredible journey, and I simply can't imagine the last few years with any other group of guys. Thank you.
Here's his Facebook account, Luigi Mangione. Another day, another play. Wed. Oh, let's see what that is. I'm sure it's already down. It's private. Another day, another play.wordpress.com. Study at University of Pennsylvania. Friends that went to high school with Luigi said, what keeps coming up is a back surgery that changed everything for him, and he went absolutely crazy. This checks out with his Goodreads history and an x-ray in his header on X. So on his X account, he had this x-ray there. You guys see these fucking weird-ass pins in his spine? And then Crooked outwitting the back pain industry and getting on the blank. Back Mechanic by Dr. Stewart. So he had a Goodreads account where he logged all the books he read. He is an avid reader with 295 books listed on Goodreads. Academically, he holds both a master's and a bachelor's degree in computer science from the University of Pennsylvania. Additionally, he gained recognition as the valedictorian at Gilman School in Baltimore. Luigi Mangione wrote Violence is Necessary in Amazon Review. Now, he didn't write Violence is Necessary, but I guess technically he did, but it's a quote from the book. Here it is. This is Industrial Society and Its Future. This is the Unabomber's book. Clearly written by a mathematics prodigy. Reads like a series of lemmas on the question of 21st century quality of life. It's easy to quickly and thoughtless write this off as a manifesto of a lunatic in order to avoid facing some of the uncomfortable problems it identifies. But it's simply impossible to ignore how prescient many of his predictions about modern society turned out. He was a violent individual, rightfully imprisoned, who maimed innocent people. While these actions tend to be characterized as those of a crazy Luddite, however, they are more accurately seen as those of an extreme political revolutionary. A take I found online that I think is interesting. Quote, had the balls to recognize that peaceful protest has gotten us absolutely nowhere, and at the end of the day, he's probably right. Oil barons haven't listened to any environmentalists, but they feared him. When all forms of communication fail, violence is necessary to survive. Now, this is a quote of someone else. You may not like his methods, but to see things from his perspective, it's not terrorism. It's war and revolution. Fossil fuel companies actively suppress anything that stands in their way, and within a generation or two, it will begin costing human lives by greater and greater magnitudes until the Earth is just a flaming ball orbiting third from the sun. Peaceful protest is outright ignored. Economic protest isn't possible in the current system. So how long until we recognize that violence against those who lead us to such destruction is justified as self-defense. These companies don't care about you or your kids or your grandkids. They have zero qualms about burning down the planet for a buck. So why would we have any qualms about burning them down to survive? I do think it's so fucking over the top cringy when a company makes this like, we care about the families at such and such medical institute. Like, they don't, obviously. We're animals just like everything else on this planet, except we've forgotten the law of the jungle and bend over for our overlords when any other animal would recognize it as a threat and fight to the death for their survival. Violence never solved anything is a statement uttered by cowards and predators. So that was a review he left where he quotes someone else. So he didn't actually write that. Luigi Mangione is cousins with the sitting Maryland state delegate, Nino Mangione, who represents District 42A. So this is a state delegate. Nino Mangione is his cousin. Gun and fake ID found on Luigi Mangione when he was apprehended. So it says Mark Rosario, 128 Sherman Place, Maplewood, New Jersey. Gender male, 5'10", brown, 721, expires 7/21/2028. Looks like a pretty good fake, honestly. It's even got like some hologram action over it over down here. It's reflective there. It looks like a pretty good fake. I don't know if it would pass in that state, but if you took this out of state, like no one knows what no one in fucking West Virginia, hardly anyone in West Virginia knows what a Tennessee license looks like. So as long as it looks like it's official, it usually passes. And here is the Glock clone. Threaded barrel Glock clone. 9mm Glock. Like they're saying, I don't think this is 3D printed, to be honest with you. I think it has a custom stipple job. I could see that from here. And I think that might be why, because this is way too smooth for a 3D print up here. It's stippled. That's not 3D printed. So stippling is when you add grip. Let's see. Glock. It's something that like it has a tactical reason, right? But it's also something that like you do to look cool. But it does have a tactical reason. It increases grip. But it's what you take a soldering iron and do this because it's plastic, right? So hold on. He's doing the undercut right now, but just wait. He's laying out a stipple with a Dremel. Now look, you just touch it a bunch of times with it. I'm gonna turn off the music. You just touch it a bunch of times with a soldering iron. Let him get around the outside of it. See, you just take it to make texture. So if you look at this texture here on that frame, and then we go back and look at this, I think it's just got a stipple job on it, and the cops don't know what to call it, so they're calling it 3D printed. It looks like a standard stipple job. It looks like they've done a double undercut on the trigger, so this would be your first undercut here, and then the second undercut for your support hand is here. It's even got a thumb rest. So when you're holding the gun, you lay your thumb up here, right? It's even got a thumb rest. So this is just a stipple job on a pistol. But I did call it that it was a Glock, not a well rod. Fucking idiots. Luigi Mangione's last quote he liked on Goodreads speaks volumes. It's a quote from Dr. Seuss in the Lorax, and it says, "Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better. It's not." Reviews from the McDonald's he was arrested at. Festering rat den and police haven. This McDonald's is full of rats. Okay. I don't know what that's relevant to, but there you go. Luigi Mangione allegedly, the alleged United Healthcare CEO shooter scheduled videos to be uploaded to his YouTube account following his arrest. I don't think this is his YouTube account. So what I saw when I looked this up is after the arrest, the profile picture, like after this guy was arrested, the profile picture was changed. And in the video, it says, if you're reading this, I'm already arrested, blah, blah, blah. I think someone's just jumping on the bandwagon and getting views. I don't actually think it's his. I'm already under arrest. The profile picture and the name, I believe, were changed after he was arrested. Luigi Mangione's disdain towards the healthcare industry is likely due to his treatment of an ailing relative, according to the New York Post. He lost his grandmother in 2013 and his grandfather in 2017. Looks like a normal guy. I mean, he had the education. It seemed like he had good jobs. He had trouble with his back, apparently. Luigi Mangione's sister sends prayers to her brother on an Instagram story, and it says, praying for you. Her Instagram story is Life with Lou, and then maybe 3 or 4 underscores. A commenter points out that December 11th flashes in the bottom corner of Luigi's YouTube video. Again, I don't think that's his YouTube video. Luigi Mangione's Instagram has been deleted. What's he got up here? What's the emojis, chat? Backpack, so travel, beach, and then no Wi-Fi. So like off-grid travel maybe, or like getting away from the day-to-day and traveling to a deserted island kind of deal, or vacation or something. Following notifications turned on for all the latest updates on the case. Hashtag free Luigi. Someone says, do any of you retards have a PhD? I have questions. He responds, pretty huge dick. He seemed like a likable guy. I want to like him. Luigi Mangione had 500 following him on X and now has over 100,000. So his X account went down. Then, like they normally do when we have somebody like this, right? Not famous, notorious. And after it went down, Elon Musk came on and said, I didn't have anything to do with this. I'm going to check into it. And then I guess it came back up. So now he has over 100,000 following. Or followers. Went from 555 to 102,000. Luigi Mangione. Unconfirmed reports are circulating that United Healthcare CEO, shooter Luigi Mangione, is bisexual. A friend of mine made out with him while he was a student. For those curious, he is bi. Hashtag equal opportunity. Photo of a fake ID found on Luigi Mangione during the arrest. This is a Hawaii ID. And it is for... That's fucking fake as shit. That's the McLovin ID. Will make his first to court. I saw the video of him being taken to court. X has suspended Luigi Mangione's suspected accounts. YouTube has suspended the channel of Luigi Mangione. Here's a picture that Fox News got of him in his holding cell. This is a picture. This is his booking photo, I believe. I saw a video of him getting out of a car going to court. CNN reports the discovery of a 2-page document containing the chilling lines. These parasites had it coming. I do apologize for any strife and trauma, but it had to be done. Currently being charged with 5 charges. Forgery, carrying firearms without a license, tampering with records or ID, possessing instruments of a crime, providing false ID to law enforcement. On the aforementioned date and time of December 9, 2024, affiant Patim, Fry, and co-affiant Patim Dweller, or PTIM. Patrol, I don't know what that stands for. Fry and PTIM. Let's see. I don't know. With the Altoona Police Department were dispatched 407 East Plank Road, Altoona, for suspicious male who had resembled the male from a recent shooting in New York on December 4th. Officers were advised in the dispatch notes that the male was wearing a medical mask and a beanie. Upon arrival, officers were able to locate the male matching the aforementioned description, sitting in the rear of the building. At a table, he was wearing a blue medical mask and was looking at a silver laptop computer that was placed on the table. The male also had a backpack on the floor near the table he was sitting at. Co-affiant made contact with the male and informed that officers were called to the McDonald's for suspicious mail matching his description. Co-affiant asked the male to pull down his medical mask so he could see his face. The male complied and pulled down his mask. Affiant and co-affiant immediately recognized the male as a suspect from New York City incident after seeing photos released of him from media sources. Co-affiant asked the male for identification and provided officers a New Jersey driver's license bearing the name Mark Rosario and date of birth of 7/21/1998. Affiant took the license and ran the information through the dispatch center. Co-affiant asked the male if he had been in New York recently, and the male became quiet and started to shake. Additional units from the Altoona Police Department arrived on scene to assist the affiant and co-affiant in identifying the male. At this time, dispatch was unable to find any information on NCIC. With the information provided by officers, Lieutenant Hanley arrived on scene and also ran the information the male provided the officers, but still found no record was able to be found. The male was advised that he was under official police investigation, and if he lied about his identity, he would get arrested. The male then stated his name was the defendant, Luigi Mangione, with a date of birth of 5/6/1998. The driver's license that the defendant provided the officers were found to be fake identification card. Fox asked the defendant why he lied about his name. The defendant replied, "I clearly shouldn't have." Lieutenant Hanley then instructed officers to place the defendant into custody for 4101A3 forgery and 4914A false identification to law enforcement. The defendant was placed into custody. The defendant was handcuffed. So they didn't know his name. They didn't know who he was. Why the fuck didn't he? Just give him his real ID? It's not like they were looking for Luigi, right? I would just gave him the real one, I guess, or a different, better burner. The defendant was placed into custody. The defendant was handcuffed and searched on the scene. The defendant was then transported back to Altoona Police Department Station, where his property was inventoried pursuant to Altoona Police Department's policy. During a search of the defendant's backpack, officers located a black 3D printed pistol and a black silencer suppressor. These people are idiots. The pistol had a metal slide and plastic handle with metal threaded barrel. The pistol had one loaded Glock magazine with 6 9mm full metal jacket rounds. That was another thing. He used a full metal jacket. We talked about that. He used full metal jacket instead of hollow points. Hollow points cause much more damage without over penetrating. So much so that they're outlawed by the Geneva Convention. Somebody can, if you want to set up a debate, somebody can send me info. Somebody drop my email address. It's coldbeerconfess@gmail.com, or you can find me on Discord to send me a message or something. If you want to send me info about it, that's fine. There was also a loose 9mm hollow point. The silencer was also 3D printed. Now, the suppressor being 3D printed, who called that? This guy. I think we're going to find out that they're wrong about the gun being 3D printed. The defendant is being charged with 4103A3 forgery, or it's a really, 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 really good 3D print. 3D prints almost always have layer lines. That's how it's made, a layer at a time. As it goes around, it just builds up a thin layer, thin layer, thin layer. And just because they're seeing that texture on it, they're thinking it's 3D printed. It's not. I don't think so. The defendant will need to be fingerprinted and photographed. Elon Musk says he's looking into the suspension of Luigi Mangione's Twitter accounts after it got taken down. This happened without my knowledge, looking into it. What a weird stance to take. You know, it's always been the policy to take down these accounts and Elon Musk is like, well, I didn't know about it. We're putting it back up. How weird, right? There's probably a bunch of fake ones now, but whatever. What a weird stance to take. That's their policy. So, like, it happened without your knowledge. Well, that's your policy. So it didn't. Everything happens without your knowledge, but it's following your policy. Maybe you should fucking change it then. Yeah, but they never. I mean, that's never been the policy, right? Whenever there's a mass shooting and somebody's identified, shit gets taken down as soon as they're either the police make a statement or they're arrested. Luigi Mangione's Twitter account is back up after a brief suspension. What's it under? Pep Mangione. There it is. 258,000 followers now. Smartphones and mental health. Doesn't the government make the rules? Bisexual icon. My assumption is United Healthcare likely fucked over both his grandparents mentioned in the thread. Pair that with whatever the experience with him doing his back surgery, which allegedly changed him. I'd say we got a mix of mental health issues meeting motive. So there you go. That's everything we know about our boy Luigi. Strange. Free Luigi is trending. Who was that? Who had that video the other day of that guy that was like, "It's not me," and he kept fucking smiling. Was that over in Discord? He's like, "Oh, I promise it's not me." He smile. He was fucking trolling his mom. He dressed up like what the shooter was wearing or whatever. It's this one.
Hello, Mumsy. How are you doing?
Jake, go back.
He does look like him.
No green jacket, no hood. This is serious now. A lot of people have been DMing me.
He's grinning.
You have to
He keeps
go
grinning.
back and change. This is not funny. Are you listening to me? This is not a funny situation. Please listen to me. Jake. Oh my God.
What?
He keeps grinning.
Do you understand?
Oh my God!
It's
Let him live.
crime. You need to go home and change. Do you
The
know
person that it was done to did a lot worse.
I
Okay,
have 2 jackets.
to the entire country.
I'm not negating
to the
that.
entire country.
I agree with you. However, there are 2 jackets in the back. Put one of them on. Jake, I'm gonna not go where you want to go. I'm not driving.
Just keeps pulling the fucking grin.
Back now. Take that jacket off.
You know what? What do you have against
the
hoods?
jacket off.
What do you have against hoods?
Jake?
There's only one type of hood I don't like, and it's a white one.
Jake.
Otherwise, I am very into the hood. I love a hooded shaft, if you will.
Jake.
And then we had this coming out.
Guys, I didn't know Macy's was as savage as they are, but they've been underestimated. They discounted the jacket worn by the CEO shooter, the guy who shot the United Healthcare CEO in New York City. His jacket is on sale at Macy's.
With a discount code FRIEND.
With a discount code of FRIEND. Here it is.
With a discount code of FRIEND. How crazy is that? It says it's $157.50 with code FRIEND. Marked down from $225 at Macy's. You got some line going on somewhere here. Let's see if we can add this up. This is 6'3", and this is 6'3". If anything, if we take this line and take it out, see the angle of this line back here, or the floor line, or whatever? Take this line and take it back. If anything, Trump should look taller than the guy in the foreground. Because he's further back, right? He's the guy in the background. He should look taller. If we take this line and run it out, Trump should probably be up here at the top of the 6. Weird.
Sir, you said during the campaign you had concepts of a plan. Do you have an actual plan at this point for health care?
Yes, we have concepts of a plan that would be better.
Still just concepts? Do you have a fully developed plan?
Let me explain. We have the biggest healthcare companies looking at it. We have doctors. We're always looking because Obamacare stinks. It's lousy. There are better answers. If we come up with a better answer, I would present that answer to Democrats and to everybody else, and I do something about it.
That makes
You
sense.
said during the campaign you had concepts of a plan. Do you have an actual plan at this point for health care?
Yes, we have concepts of a plan that would be better.
Still just concepts? Do you have a fully developed plan?
Let me explain. We have the biggest healthcare companies looking at it. We have doctors. We're always looking because Obamacare stinks. It's lousy. There are better answers. If we
He also claims that, hold on. In the same interview, if we can find the longer version of it, he claims that he saved it. Is this the longer one? How long is that one?
Obamacare is lousy health care. It's very expensive health care for the people. It's also expensive for the country, but for the people. It's a plan that would be better.
Still just concepts? Do you have a fully developed plan?
Let me explain. We have the biggest healthcare companies looking at it. We have doctors. We're always looking because Obamacare stinks.
What he's saying here is a big deal.
Wait. I don't want to hear you.
Alternative plan, whatever of pre-expansion, which would mean that more than 3 million.
He goes on and he's like, but I saved it, but it's horrible. It don't make any fucking sense.
I am the one that saved Obamacare, I will say, and I did the right thing. I could have done the more political thing and killed it, and all I had to do is starve it to death.
You did try to have your Justice Department.
But it does. So he's like, I saved Obamacare. I did it because I had to. And you did have your Justice Department try to take it down multiple times.
I did the right thing. I could have done the more political thing and killed it, and all I had to do is starve it to death.
You did try to have your Justice Department effectively kill it, though.
No. Kill it from a legal standpoint, but from a physical standpoint,
I tried to kill it from a legal standpoint, but from a physical standpoint, I saved it.
made it work. I am the one that saved Obamacare, I will say, and I did the right thing. I could have done the more political thing and killed it, and all I had to do is starve it to death.
You did try to have your Justice Department effectively kill it, though.
No. Kill it from a legal standpoint, but from a physical standpoint.
Have a good one, man. Thanks for hanging out.
I am the one that saved Obamacare.
I think we got the full interview. It'll probably get copywritten, but it's over an hour long, though.
Welcome back to Meet the Press.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for being here. You are the first president since Grover Cleveland to win non-consecutive terms. Republicans now have control of the House and the Senate.
Right.
What do you plan to accomplish in your first 100 days in office?
Well, we're going to do something with the border, and very strong, very powerful. That'll be our first signal, and the first signal to America that we're not playing games. We have people coming in by the millions, as you know, and a lot of people shouldn't be here. Most of them shouldn't be here, but we have jails being emptied into our country. We have mental institutions from all over the world being emptied into our country. So we'll be doing that. We're going to be extending within that period, or as soon as we can, the Trump tax cuts, because, you know, they're coming due and they're very substantial for people. And it would be very, I think it will anger a lot of people, frankly, if we don't get an extension of that. That's what led us to one of the greatest economies ever. And those two things are going to be very vital, very important. We're going to be focusing on crime in the cities, and we'll work with Democrat governors. Most of them are, you know, if you look at the 25 worst places, they're just about all Democrat-controlled cities and states. And we're going to be working with Democrat governors and Democrat mayors. And I look forward to doing it. But we have to do something about crime, and mostly in our cities. And we're going to have a lot of other things. We'll be working on nominations. We're going to still be working on some nominations. I think they're going very well. We have, for the most part, I think they're going extremely well. It looks like Peter's doing well now. I mean, people were a little bit concerned. He's a young guy with a tremendous track record, actually. He went to Princeton and went to Harvard. He was a good student at both. But he left.
Have you seen what Pete Hegseth's mom says about him? I know she came back on Fox News to be like, I didn't mean those things, but have you seen what his mom says about him? Pete Hegseth's mother accused her son of mistreating women for years. Penelope Hegseth, we'll have to, let me bypass this paywall. Hold on. Don't come after me, New York Times. I don't have the money. Sorry. Viva la revolution. Penelope Hegseth made the accusation in an email to her son in 2018 amid his contentious divorce. She said on Friday that she regretted the email and apologized to him. The mother of Pete Hegseth, President-elect Donald J. Trump's pick for Secretary of Defense, wrote him an email in 2018 saying he routinely mistreated women for years and displayed a lack of character. On behalf of all women, and I know it's many, you have abused in some way, I say get some help and take an honest look at yourself. I have no respect for any man that belittles, lies, cheats, sleeps around, and uses women for his own power and ego. You are that man and have been for years. And as your mother, it pains me and embarrasses me to say that. But it is the sad, sad truth. That's his own mom. But now she's like, I don't think Trump should listen to the media. I apologize. I was just angry. And I don't think Trump should listen. Trump, back my son on Fox News. She claims she immediately sent another email apologizing she should have never sent it. That's her. What? I'm sure she just didn't make up these claims of this continual abuse. I was mad, so I made it all up. And another email you guys don't have, I messaged him back and said, I made all this up. You're good.
Loves the military, and I think people are starting to see it. So we'll be working on his nomination along with a lot of others.
We are going to delve into your nominations, but since you bring him up, do you still have confidence in Pete Hegseth?
Yes, I do. I really do. He's a very smart guy. I've known him through Fox, but I've known him for a long time.
Woefully unqualified for a Secretary of Defense. Woefully.
He's basically a military guy. I mean, every time I talk to him, all he wants to talk about is the military. He's a military guy. I used to kid him about it. I didn't think it would be in this position where he may be, hopefully will be Secretary of Defense. But every time I was with him, he was fighting for soldiers, where he said some soldier was unjustly put in prison because they were really doing what they were taught to do in some cases. So, yeah, I think he's going to do fine.
The fact that there are these allegations against him, misconduct, sexual misconduct, heavy drinking, the fact that he said to some senators reportedly he'll stop drinking if he gets this job, does that worry you?
He had to promise his senators, right, around him that he would stop drinking if he got the position. He promises.
No, I think that everybody has something that they can stop. Some people can stop eating. I'm lucky I'm not a drinker, but I can stop eating. And we all want to stop doing something. And if he said that, I mean, that's a nice...
You can't stop eating.
Some people can stop eating. I'm lucky I'm not a drinker, but I can stop eating. And we all want to...
What? You can't stop. I could, I don't drink, but I breathe. I could stop breathing. Everybody wants to stop something. I want to stop breathing.
Everybody has something that they can stop. Some people can stop eating. I'm lucky I'm not a drinker, but I can stop eating. And we all want to stop doing something. And if he said that, I mean, that's a nice thing to say. That's a good thing to say. But he's very respected. I can tell you, I know a lot of the people at Fox, they think he's fantastic. And the people that work with him.
I don't know that he's an idiot. I think that he knows that he's got a supermajority right now, and he can name loyalists. He doesn't want someone qualified for the job. He wants someone that qualified as, yes, sir, we'll do it right away, sir, and never disagree with him. He'll never put himself, if he can help it, he'll never put himself back in the position where the Justice Department was ready to all fucking resign because he wanted them to put out shit that the election was stolen. And they're like, no, we're not doing it.
So as you all know, the United Health CEO was murdered last week, and they still don't have a name.
Well, disciplined
for dude yet, for the one who carried it out. It's kind of crazy, right? First of all, the NYPD gets like $1 gazillion every year, and they released like 3 or 4 different pictures, and I'm not kidding when I say every single picture I've seen that they say is this guy is a different person. They say, like, this is the guy, this is the guy, this is the guy, this is the guy, and every picture is a different person. So it's like, this literally can't be correct, because even if one of them is correct,
I didn't see that. They all looked like the same person from different shitty cameras. Like some of them was like a camera in a car, in a taxi. One of them was security camera. They're all from shitty cameras, but I think it's the same person.
Some of them are wrong, and you're just like throwing randos under the bus here, right? So I'm going to do a separate segment in a little bit on some of the updates in the case on the United Health CEO. But Ben Shapiro did a segment talking about this, and wow, did he mess around and find out. Because, look, he's Ben Shapiro, right? So he immediately goes into partisan hack mode. What are Republicans supposed to think about this? What are Republicans supposed to say? I'm going to say the thing that Republicans say. I'm going to be the partisan guy. Partisan hack. Like, this is his whole shtick, right? His whole shtick is the doctrinaire, right-wing, conservative Republican. I'll give you the reaction. Now, here's the problem. He ran headfirst into the concrete wall of the reality that Americans all across this country, regardless of political affiliation, hate our healthcare system and our health insurance system. They hate it. They hate it. They hate it. It is universal as universal can be in how much they hate it, right? So to him, this is just...
the reason he's had to go so outside the normal bounds of where you would look for cabinet positions, right, where you'd recruit from for cabinet positions, is because the people that rightfully earn those are not yes men, right? Somebody that rightfully earns the right to be named as Secretary of Defense is not a guy that's just going to say yeah because you want him to. So he's having to go way outside the bounds of traditional picks to find someone who will just worship him.
There's another day in the office. He thinks, bro, I got this on lock. The title of the video is "The Evil Revolutionary Left Cheers Murder." So I'll play a little bit of the video, but the more important part is the way the audience reacted. We're going to go through some of the comments, and holy cow. Wow, was this a slap in the face to him. And also, by the way, the like to dislike is like...
If there's something that the vast majority of the non-1% can come together on, it should be insurance companies.
Like, I want to say it's like 80 or 90% dislikes on his own video. Whoa, all right, let's get it.
The real question in all of this is how Americans respond. So Taylor Loren, we talked about her yesterday. She is a psychotic former reporter for the Washington Post and the New York Times. She's totally insane. She was insane on COVID. She was insane when it came to the supposed predations of people on the right who ought to, she said, be shut out of media, and particularly social media. Well, now she is full-scale rallying in favor of the murderer. So she tweeted yesterday on Blue Sky, which is a weird left-wing echo chamber form of Twitter. There's a
weird left-wing echo, okay.
Post put out by Blue Cross and Blue Shield all about whether it was going to pay for anesthesia under its healthcare coverage, and she then tweeted out, quote, "And people wonder why we want these executives dead." So openly sharing the death of Brian Thompson. That wasn't her only post. Somebody put out a statement saying, quote, "Legislation idea. Healthcare executives and their families must be on the cheapest plan their company offers, and they aren't allowed to seek other care." And she wrote in all capital letters, "Indoors." Then she put out a post that showed a graphic of a happy star, like a star with a happy face and balloons, and the caption "CEO down." And she wrote, "Woke up to see this spammed in my group chats." And she said, "I am not alone," that other people were doing the same thing. Then she reposted a post from left-wing agitator Ken Klippenstein saying,
left-wing agitator.
"Today we remember the legacy of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson." And what exactly was that legacy? He claimed denial rates by insurance companies. And of course, it's not just Taylor Lorenz. Socialist Nathan Robinson, a complete useless leech on the ass of society, posted himself, quote, "Live your life in such a way that people will be sad when you die." That was above a screen cap of the New York Times headline that said, "Torrent of hate for health insurance industry follows CEO's killing." That piece from the New York Times is all about people who apparently were perfectly fine with the murder of Brian Thompson on the streets of New York City. According to the New York Times, none of this stopped social media commentators from leaping to conclusions and showing a blatant lack of sympathy over the death of a man who was a husband and father of 2 children.
He was a husband and father, yeah. Osama bin Laden was a husband and father. There was like universal rejoicing when he died. Like, okay, guys, this is all just cheap. This is cheap. Everybody knows it's cheap. Everybody sees through it, which is why his own audience turned on him.
The family read one comment underneath the video of the shooting posted online by CNN. "Unfortunately, my condolences are out of network."
Yeah.
A TikTok user wrote, "I'm an ER nurse, and the things I've seen dying patients get denied for by insurance, it makes me physically sick. I just can't feel sympathy for him because of all those patients and their families." And these sorts of messages were incredibly common.
he's like making the argument of the other side as he's like, I don't like that. I don't like this.
We discussed yesterday a Columbia professor who wrote something very similar. Unfortunately, bubbling under the surface of all this is something very serious, really serious. What is that serious thing? The revolutionary left is creeping into the mainstream. Yesterday we talked about liberals versus the left. Liberals are people who disagree with me on public policy, but aren't in favor of, the murder of their opponents. The left is a different thing. The shooting of Thompson has unleashed a wave of evil from members of the left. Thompson was not a criminal. He wasn't even an advocate of death, the way, for example, abortion or euthanasia advocates are.
Oh my God. So you get the gist of it. You get the gist of what he was saying. Ben, he absolutely 100% without a doubt was a merchant of death. He has blood on his hands. There are countless people who are dead because of him rejecting claims for profit. Remember, health insurance in this country, it's for profit. So it is an unnecessary, rapacious, for-profit middleman that price gouges you on the front end and does everything it can on the back end to deny you care when you need them most. That's the way the business model works, Ben. This part's not controversial. Everything I've said so far is just straight facts. And facts don't care about your feelings. Well, stop pretending like facts do care about your feelings because you are anti-fact in this rant. Okay, here we go. Look at the replies. His own audience. It's not left or right. It's not black or white. It's rich versus poor. Your true colors are showing. I'm not buying this left versus right shit anymore, Ben. I want healthcare for my family. Not gonna lie, these comments are making me feel patriotic as fuck. Remember, folks, Ben's not out of touch. He knows exactly what he's doing. He has more in common with the CEO than 99% of us. Radical change is not about left or right.
His own fans.
The left like something doesn't mean you have to instinctively hate it. Wake up and read the room, bro. My God, conservatives, liberals, and lefties are hugging it out in the comments. My God, this is beautiful. L take. I'm glad the comment.
That's because that's all some of these people, they're so out of touch with a normal person that all they know is like, oh, these other people I disagree with politically like something, and we have to hate it.
And section noticed the CEO was actually a criminal. That's correct. That's correct. I say this as a conservative. Ben Shapiro needs you to hate anything considered left-wing. It's his entire business model because he's a grifter. He will make a partisan issue out of absolutely anything if it can justify him putting another video out and continue stoking your rage. This isn't a left versus right issue. It's the working class versus the wealthy, and that's probably why you're trying to pretend it's something it's not. Hate to break it to you, buddy, but it's not just the left who's sick of this. Seeing rich people be so out of touch on this topic and be so clearly afraid of potential class consciousness truly fills me with hope. Wow. That goes on, bro. That goes on. It is universal. Again, it's like an 80 or 90% dislike rate on this video. Now, Matt Walsh released a similar video. Same goddamn thing. Everybody disagreeing with him in the comments. So look, thank you to the commenters. You are correct. Having said that, I do need to correct them on one thing. I have to do it. The one thing I'm going to correct them on is this. This is a left-wing issue. because the Republican Party and the right wing generally, right? I'm not talking about you, regular folks. I'm talking about the politicians and the powers that be in the status quo. The right's plan for healthcare is literally do nothing, right? And sometimes they go a step further and they say, get rid of the best parts of Obamacare, like protecting your pre-existing conditions so you can't get denied because you had something wrong with you in the past, right? So the right-wing proposal is, and I'm not kidding about this, give these mafia criminal health insurance companies more power and more control over your life. That is literally the Republican answer. I don't want you to take my word for it. If you're a conservative and you're listening to this, I don't want you to take my word for it. Go read Trump's healthcare plan they released in 2017. It's called the American Health Care Act. It was called Trump Care for short. I believe the exact number is the Kaiser Family Foundation did a poll. It had 8% support in the country. Why? Because one of the provisions got rid of the protections for pre-existing conditions and made it so that the states would have to opt into it. And of course, every Republican state would opt out of it and it would screw people over, right? They also
pre-existing conditions clause is wild, right? When you sign up for that shit, you should be covered.
The lines around the states, so you can buy insurance across state lines. That would not in any way, shape, or form improve the quality, lower the price. It's just a scam to make it so that all the health insurance companies would set up in a state where they get to pay the lowest amount of taxes. So it's just another trick to give more money and more power and more direct control of your life over to the health insurance companies. So I love you, commenters. You're right in everything you're saying. Your anger is righteous and just, and I agree with you. Having said that, if you are against this health insurance CEO, if you're against the mafia criminal health insurance system in this country, you are a left-winger on this issue. You just are. Now, maybe you're not on other issues. Maybe you disagree on abortion or you disagree on guns or whatever. That's fine. But on this issue, you are left-wing. You just are. Now, why is Ben Shapiro such a slimy little partisan hack weasel? His whole thing is, facts don't care about your feelings. I'm the facts man. I'm the facts man. If you're the facts man, why don't you investigate why the reaction to this healthcare CEO being killed was so colossally universal that it surprised even me? Don't you have any intellectual curiosity? It's truly not just the revolutionary left that's reacting like this, right?
Everybody has a story about health insurance or the healthcare system or all the things that this resembles, right? Everybody. It might not be directly to you, but one of your family members or a friend you know, their mom or something like that.
The answer is simple. Everybody has a horror story. Everybody knows somebody else who has a horror story.
Oh, I didn't realize he was about to say that immediately after I said it.
Bills are the #1 cause of bankruptcy in this country. People get claims denied and then they have family members die. This is why. You can't hide that reality from people. You can't hide the reality of the material conditions from people. So, Mr. Facts don't care about your feelings. Let me tell you some facts that he buried. Here's one. In the U.S., we could have saved 338,000 lives from COVID if we just had universal health care. That's it. If we just had universal health care, we could have saved 338,000 lives.
You know, in 2024, that even though health insurance kept raising their premiums for policyholders, that their $88 billion in profit that they made in 2023 was double. They doubled their profit from 2022 to 2023. More than doubled. It went from 39 to 39 billion insurance, okay? Health insurance went from 39 billion to 88 billion in a year. Not their fucking income, their profits.
Because there were a lot of people who had COVID who probably needed to go to the hospital, but they're like, you know what? I can't go to the hospital. I don't have insurance. I can't afford the bill. And so they stayed home.
In the first quarter of 2024, they made as much as they made the entire year in 2022. In the first fucking quarter of 2020 of this year, they made as much they made all of 2022. And insurance executives are lobbying that they can't keep up and people aren't paying their bills and they don't know what they're going to do. The sky's falling the whole time when they're pitching it to lobbyists and government officials. It's wild, dude. Wild how much they make.
And they died. 338,000 lives could have been saved if we had Medicare for all in this country when COVID hit. Nobody talks about that. Nobody talks about that. I don't know, that kind of seems like a big deal that we would save nearly 500,000 lives during the pandemic. And again, nobody discusses this. All right, I got more for you. Ready? Medicare for all would save $450 billion annually while preventing 68,000 deaths every year. New study finds. We have 68,000 deaths in this country because a lot of people don't have basic health insurance and they don't have access to basic health care. 68,000 deaths every single year. Those lives could be saved if we had Medicare for all. Because the way you prioritize who to give health care to in single-payer countries is by need. Whoever needs it gets it. right? If you have an elective procedure, you might have to wait a little bit, but that's okay. It's elective. It's not a big deal. But if you need the help, you get it. In this country, we do what's called a wallet biopsy. The more money you make, the quicker you are to get your care. And even if you need the care, but you don't have the money, you don't have the insurance, you're not getting the care. You're going to have to wait for that. Their systems are just better. They are just better. Now, you might say, well, hold on. Why would single payer save so much money? I don't understand why it would save so much money. Guys, you get rid of the unnecessary, rapacious, for-profit middleman. The other thing is you drastically reduce what's called the administrative costs. So under Medicare that we have already, so Medicare is free healthcare for old people funded by tax dollars, there's only about 2% overhead for administrative costs. 2%. In the private for-profit health insurance industry, it's like 18%. Why should you have to get price gouged so that a third executive can get a second yacht and a Maserati and a third vacation home? Why the fuck would that? Why would you want that? Why would you want that? These people are criminals. These people are robbing you. This system is disgusting. 68,000 lives would be saved with Medicare for all every year. $450 billion saved every year as well. Get rid of the mafia middleman price gouging you for no reason and blowing a shitload of money on unnecessary administrative costs. I'm not done. Look at this. This is U.S. per capita healthcare spending, and it's over twice the average of other developed countries. So on average, per capita healthcare spending in developed countries is about $6,400. Here we spend $12,500. And guess what? Our life expectancy is lower, and our health outcomes are worse. The system's a joke. The system is literally criminal. If I was telling you to start from scratch and create a society, what are the things you put on the list of, like, look, this should be funded, this should be the commons, this should be funded by taxpayers, and everybody should have a right to the following? What would you put on the top of that list? One of the top things would obviously be healthcare, right? Have a single payer, a single insurer. Your tax money goes to the government, then your money goes to give everybody healthcare, right? It's a duh perspective. But in this country, corporations, billionaires, big money interests bought the government and rigged it in their favor. And so that's why you have these super powerful health insurance companies that get to make your life a living hell on a daily basis, price gouge you and deny you care, and then also somehow get treated like they're not criminals, like they're serious people. I said this the other day, but crime in this country is illegal if you wear a suit and tie. And it looks like everybody's onto that fact. It looks like everybody understands, hey, fraud is a business model on Wall Street. Hey, how many tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands or millions of people got foreclosed on because of banker criminals who just wanted to make a buck and they were playing hot potato with these assets? Seems like people are onto it. Wall Street is not your friend. The billionaires are not your friend. The big banks are not your friend. The health insurance companies are definitely not your friend. The private prison industry, definitely not your friend. Right? There are some industries in this country that simply should not exist. We should not have for-profit capitalist prisons. We should not have for-profit capitalist health insurance. They are a scourge. It's ironic. Didn't he call somebody a leech in this? What did he say? Ken Clipperton was a leech. Somebody was a leech. Nathan Robinson was a leech or whatever he said. No, the leech is the United Healthcare CEO. The leech is the entire...
I don't know why we don't have... We shouldn't have people refusing to go to the hospital with major illnesses because they can't afford it. We should have the best goddamn healthcare system in the world.
This model of health insurance in this country. The leech is that whole industry, for-profit health insurance, the whole fucking industry. Everybody's got a horror story. Number one cause of bankruptcy. So many people died from having their claims rejected. We're sick of it. We're fucking sick of it. So what I want to say to all the Ben Shapiro fans who are reacting correctly in that comment section, welcome. Welcome. You might not be left-wing on other issues. Fair enough, right? We can have that conversation. We can have that debate. We can have that disagreement. But don't let anybody fool you. On this one issue, not only are you a lefty,
would you imagine? Wouldn't it be wild if the violent steps this guy took is what actually led to some type of universal health care?
You're a socialist. On the issue of healthcare and health insurance, you're a socialist. You are. Now, take that mentally, make peace with it, do whatever you want with it, but I'm just telling you the reality. But here's the thing. All these facts I just showed you, all these facts, all the lives that could have been saved during COVID if we had universal health care, all the people that die every year because we don't have universal health care, all the money that would be saved, etc. All these things I told you, these are facts, and Mr. Facts Don't Care About Your Feelings has never come within 1,000 miles of telling you any of these things. Ask yourself why that is. Let me tell you the difference between me and Ben Shapiro. The difference is this show that I'm on is funded by you. It's funded by Patreon, $5 a month. It's funded by tips with the thanks button on YouTube. It's funded by the default ads on YouTube. I've never had a conversation with an advertiser. I've never had a conversation with a billionaire. I've never had a conversation with a foreign government. Ben Shapiro cannot say the same. Ben Shapiro, every fucking 5 minutes, stops to jam into shitty ads, right? He's got direct deals. He talks directly to corporations and advertisers and billionaires, probably foreign governments too. He's for sale. I'm not for sale. I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm going to tell you who's really screwing you. Ben Shapiro is nothing but 24/7. Every problem ever that ever existed is always the fault of some blue-haired college kid who screams on a college campus and wants to ban Milo Yiannopoulos from talking. Every problem is the blue-haired college kid. Every problem is the liberals and the Democrats. This is his whole fucking business model. And he is the classic example of divide and conquer to help the ruling class. Divide and conquer to help the ruling class and screw over the working class. Culture war, culture war, culture war. Get you fighting over that while Ben Shapiro and all of his buddies run out the back door with all the fucking money in this oligarchy. Only one of us wants you to have health care. Only one of us wants you to have a social security check. And yes, I'm talking about everybody, not just social security for the wealthy. I want social security for all. Only one of us wants to get the corruption out of the system and have a government that actually represents the people. True democracy. Only one of us wants that. Only one of us wants you to have higher wages. I'm in favor of higher minimum wage. I'm in favor for unionization for everybody. So their wages go up, their benefits go up, they get more vacation time. Only one of us wants that. He doesn't want that. He doesn't want that. So perhaps you've outgrown slimy little Weasley propaganda boy Ben Shapiro. And if that's the case, I welcome you here with open arms. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.
Wild, dude. Wild. World's coming together over this shit right now. I mean, it's awesome. Like I said, everybody's got a story. Like, I got mad and upset last night when I was talking about my mom, but everybody has a fucking story. It's not just me. It's not just people who fucking take it to the streets. Everybody has a story about it. Here's a review of that Trump interview we were watching.
As far as real interviews go, Donald Trump this weekend sat down with NBC News' Kristen Welker, and it was a sick nostalgia that I experienced. I say a depraved nostalgia. I had forgotten how insanely disturbed this guy is. He did the full orange face, eyes swollen shut interview with Kristen Welker, and he rolled out what would be dystopian authoritarian policy, word salads, admissions to the very worst things we suspected. This is almost as bad as that Axios interview. And here's where I think we see Trump's deterioration. In his first term, an interview like this would have been an unusually bad interview. This seems to be every interview now. So let's get right into it. Trump talking about groceries, the word, a linguistic analysis of sorts. I dare you to unwind this word salad. Listen to this.
I want on two things, the border, and more than immigration. You know, they like to say immigration. I break it down more to the border, but I want on the border, and I want on groceries. It's a very simple word, groceries.
What?
Like almost, you know, who uses the word? I started using the word, the groceries.
As a nearly 80...
Who uses the word? Who uses that word? Us, like 4 times a day when me and Mariah are talking?
Year-old man, he started using the word groceries. I dare you to do 4 years of this.
When you buy apples, when you buy bacon, when you buy eggs, they would double and triple the price over a short period of time. And I won an election based on that.
He won an election. Now, here's the crazy thing. On the one hand, this is whacked out nuttery, but on the other hand, he's not wrong. People's perception of the economy, including prices, is a big reason that Trump did win. Now, we get to the healthcare plan. The healthcare plan that in August of 2020 was a mere 2 weeks away. A healthcare plan that Trump had concepts for in June. Well, what happens now? Trump is asked, do you have the plan? What do you think? You think he has the plan? Let's take a listen.
And then he voted against. Nobody understands.
Sir, you said during the campaign you had concepts of a plan. Do you have an actual plan at this point for healthcare?
Yes, we have concepts of a plan that would be better.
Still just concepts? You have a fully developed plan?
Let me explain. We have the biggest healthcare companies looking at it. We have doctors. We're always looking because Obamacare stinks. It's lousy. There are better answers. If we come up with a better answer, I would present that answer.
Let them eat cake.
To Democrats and to everybody else.
Groceries.
And do something about it. But until we have that, or until they can approve it, but we're not going to go.
Child care is child care should have been the quote that put people on the streets with bang sticks.
He's been looking for years. Something better, and he just hasn't quite found it yet. Now, of course, he's never had a plan other than the ones Republicans came up with in 2017, which, if passed, would have.
I could quit eating. Then we'd never have to say groceries again. I'm the one who started that. I think I came up with that word, groceries.
24 to 32 million Americans losing healthcare coverage they had. That one didn't make it through, as you might remember, in 2017, and we've never seen another proposal since. Kristen Welker asks Trump a very good question. If Democrats rigged it in 2020, why didn't they rig it in 2024? Trump has an answer. Listen.
Sir, Democrats have control of the White House now. They didn't in 2020. If they are going around stealing elections, why
When you
didn't
say
they
Democrats have control now?
of the White House?
Yeah.
So why didn't they steal this election? Since they have more power now.
Because I think it was too big to rig.
Oh, okay.
So you won't.
It was too big to rig.
Less votes, too big to rig.
Sir,
fewer people voted in 2024 than in 2020. It was smaller. Fewer people voted. But somehow it was harder, more difficult for Democrats to rig it this time because this one was too big to rig, except fewer people voted. Wow. Wow. Trump asked, you're going to be the oldest president ever. Will you release your medical records? What we learn is Trump doesn't seem to know what medical records are.
When you think about your time in office, you are making history for a range of reasons, including the fact you will be the oldest person to be sworn into office. Do you commit to releasing your medical records?
Sure, I do it all the time. I think I've released 4 of them.
Not just a letter, though, your full medical report.
I would, and I think anybody should, but I mean, according to all the reports, I don't want to, where's wood? Is there some wood where I can knock on wood? But my reports are very good, very strong.
So yeah, super strong medical reports, which he does not release. Releasing a letter from your doctor saying hyperbolically that you're super healthy is not a medical record. I believe that Trump is medicated for, I should have looked it up. I don't want to speak. It's either cholesterol or blood pressure. What are his numbers? What's his lipid panel? How much medication is he on?
He's super healthy. The healthiest guy that I've ever seen. Like a Russian racing horse.
What about his obesity? Releasing a letter that says I'm awesome from a partisan doctor is not a medical record. Trump, disturbingly, now this is where it gets very real, okay? Later, or maybe tomorrow, depends how today goes, depends how I'm feeling. We'll see what's in the air. I'm going to...
Yeah, when he's saying too big to rig, it's dumb. So let's say that the Democrats have a switch that they can flip to make 81 million votes appear. they would have won. Less people voted. If they just flipped the same switch they did in 2020 or whatever he claims, they would have won.
I'm going to talk about the authoritarian justifications for invoking all sorts of emergency powers that Trump may use. And one of the things Trump admits to Kristen Welker is he believes that people who simply disagree with him politically should be jailed. This is why when you see Kash App Patel nominated to run the FBI, you get scared. This is why when you see Pam Bondi nominated to be Attorney General, you get scared, because this is what Trump wants. Listen to this.
And Cheney was behind it, and so was Benny Thompson, and everybody on that committee. For what they did, honestly, they should go to jail.
So you think Liz Cheney should go to jail?
For what they did.
Everyone on the committee, you
I think everybody, anybody that voted in favor.
Are you going to direct your FBI director and your Attorney General to send them to jail?
Not at all. I think that they'll have to look at that, but I'm not
right. It's like RT, right? I know I use this analogy. The RT hosts love to say, no one...
A lot of Adderall. No. A lot of Adderall.
No, you got hired because they knew what you would say.
It's like a super jug. If you're like wealthy and good friends with your daughter, anybody that's trying to be productive takes Adderall. It's it's crazy.
Tell Kash App Patel to go after Liz Cheney? No. He's going to look at it.
I've taken it. I've taken it at work. It makes me way, way, way more productive. I don't know what the long-term fucking side effects would be, but it fucking makes you way, 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 way more productive. Unless you need it because you already got ADHD. Then it has an opposite effect.
He's being hired because he already has said dozens of times in public, what we need to do is go after these people. Trump also breaks the news that he will attempt to end birthright citizenship as enshrined by the Bill of Rights.
Wow. Citizenship on day one. Is that still your plan?
Yeah, absolutely.
The 14th Amendment, though, says that, quote, all persons born in the United States are citizens. Can you get around the 14th Amendment with an executive action?
We'll have to get a change. We'll maybe have to go back to the people, but we have to end it. We're the only country that has it.
Through an executive action?
You know, we're the only country that has it. Do you know?
I wish Kristen Welker knew that we are not the only country that has it.
It's in the Constitution.
35 countries have birthright citizenship. She just looks kind of perplexed when he says it. Maybe she suspects it's a lie. It is a lie. 35 countries have birthright citizenship. Trump is trying to go fascist, authoritarian, buck wild. Now, then it got to the Pete Hegseth stuff. Trump asked, do you have confidence in Pete Hegseth? And he goes, oh, yeah, I know him really well through the TV.
It looks like Pete is doing well now. I mean, people were a little bit concerned. He's a young guy with a tremendous track record. Actually went to Princeton and went to Harvard. He was
yes, the very schools that we no longer are supposed to care about because they are just liberal indoctrination, according to Trump, except when it's convenient.
Good student at both, but he loves the military, and I think people are starting to see it. So we'll be working on his nomination along with a lot of others.
Since you bring him up, do you still have confidence in Pete Hegseth?
Yes, I do. I really do. He's a very smart guy. I've known him through Fox, but I've known him for a long time.
I've known him through the TV for a long time. Very, very long time. Got it. He knows nothing about Pete Hegseth. He was asked, Trump was, have Republican senators assured you that they're going to vote for this guy? And Trump goes, they really have.
Have you gotten assurances from senators that he's going to be confirmed? Do you think he can make it?
No, I think he will, yeah. I've had a lot of senators call me up saying he's fantastic.
Yes, okay. So some senators have said yes, but Trump is not getting the assurances that...
He's saying that the January 6th committee should be jailed. It's just wild. All they did was investigate and laid out everything they found. They should be jailed for even looking into it.
Hegseth will be voted in. And then finally, the drinking. Trump's vague reference to other people. He's sure that Hegseth doesn't really have a drinking problem.
You don't drink yourself. No. You've talked about how devastating drinking can be.
Yeah.
How concerned are you that the person who you picked for this top job at the Defense Department, at least according to those who've worked with him, has struggled with drinking?
But I've spoken to people that know him very well, and they say he does not have a drinking problem.
There you go. I love the Trump, by the way, Trump does genuinely seem to be trying to salvage the nomination. He's lobbying senators here, right? Do you want to be on the wrong side of Trump coming out publicly and saying, I stand behind him? We'll see what happens with Hegseth. The Hegseth thing is so funny. He doesn't have a drinking problem and has also committed to no longer drinking if he gets confirmed, right? It's sort of like, I lost because they cheated, but actually I won. Wait, so hold on, which is it? It was rigged, or which one is it? This is likely not going to end well. And by that, I mean giving Trump the nuclear codes once again. Mind-blowingly disastrous interview. Trump doesn't realize it. I think Kristen Welker realizes it, but this is going to be a very, very long 4 years. We'd better be prepared. With the holiday season upon us, you might be enjoying some festive drinks. Check out our sponsor, ZBiotics Pre-Alcohol Probiotic, a tiny shot-sized drink you toss back before you have any of those drinks to keep you feeling your best the next day. ZBiotics' pre-alcohol is the world's first genetically engineered
Let him do his pitch.
Invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. When you drink, alcohol is converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It is that byproduct, not dehydration, to blame for how you feel the next day. And ZBiotics' pre-alcohol produces an enzyme to break break the byproduct down. If you drink one of these before drinking alcohol, then you drink responsibly and get a good night's sleep, you'll feel really good the next day. And it is backed with a 100% money-back guarantee. If you're unsatisfied for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. Go to zbiotics.com/Pacman and use code.
The January 6th committee report really opened my eyes to some stuff that I didn't know was going on, different things that happened. That report come out the 186 minutes or whatever, dereliction of duty as a president. Yeah, it's just crazy. He claims that they deleted all the evidence that proved that he was innocent, and that's why they should go to jail. Why can't you show us that evidence? They deleted it. They took it all and deleted all the good evidence that shows that I'm innocent and only shown you the evidence that shows that I'm guilty. That's why they should go to jail. The select committee deleted records and hid evidence. Reps Thompson and Cheney failed to overturn video recordings of witness interviewers and depositions despite using these recordings in high-profile primetime hearings. The subcommittee recovered over 100 deleted or password-protected files, including some files that were deleted days before Republicans took the majority. They also hid multiple transcribed interviews of witnesses who had firsthand knowledge of Trump's actions on January 6. That's what his friends put out in Congress. Like, I don't know. It's so fucking... They just put out a 500-page document about COVID. The Republicans did. And it's so fucking wild. It's so fucking wild, the claims they make. So they're declaring that all conspiracy theorists are now right about COVID. All conspiracy theories about COVID are now right. The 5G, they're just saying all conspiracy theories proven right. The Joe Rogan even fucking said it. All because they found out there's a chance that it could have came from a lab. Almost every virologist agrees that it would probably developed in some more natural way. There's a chance it could have come from a lab. I don't know. They're just wild. The Democrats put out a 50-page rebuttal just claiming all the bullshit in the report. All the bullshit in the report. It's already gotten to Trump wants us to say this, so we've got the majority. Let's make a report that says this. And the same people who wouldn't trust doctors, scientists, anybody who disagrees with Trump, the World Health Organization, anybody from a foreign country, the same people who wouldn't believe any of that and said, we don't trust the experts, fuck the experts, they don't know what's going on, ivermectin and blue babies and all that shit, are now like, listen to these Republicans, check out this report they did. We were all right the whole time. The only thing I can say is ever since everybody got the 5G vaccination, my cell phone service has been exceptional. So thank you for that sacrifice for our dear nation. Guys, that's it for me tonight. Please considering supporting the show, especially while we recover from Helene, trying to get back on our feet. I greatly appreciate it. We got Christmas and stuff coming up, the kids, everything else. So if you can support the show, that'd be awesome. If you can't, I understand. Don't worry about it. Thank you guys for joining us. Thanks for being here. Thanks for hanging out with me. I'll be back tomorrow. The machine's gone at the end of this week, and then I'll be trying to get in here earlier. We're not going to have the machine back until after the holidays. A different machine, probably a skid steer or mini dozer or something. So I'll be trying to get in here earlier and do more content. Patreon's coming back up. I know that we've got a legal document to cover, that there was a ruling in favor of Pebbles that came out. Phil tried to put a demur, basically saying that no one knew that Pebbles was McCaslin, and she couldn't prove that it was defamation because he used her username or something. The judge stopped that in its tracks. We'll cover that on the next one. I saw people talking about it on Twitter, but Pebbles sent me a copy of it too. We'll read that. Thank you guys for joining us. Thanks for being here. Consider supporting the show while we're offline at coldbeer.fund, coldbeer.fund, and we will see you on the next one. Have a good night, guys. Thanks for hanging out with me. Free Luigi. We're off to the races, I guess. Share the show with a friend. We got to build back up our viewer base. No Q-tards. But share the show with a friend.
On this planet, by name and tell them exactly who they are and telling the rest of the world who they are. You don't have the fork and balls. You don't have the balls.
Okay, Scott. Here we go. I think I started some shit. Listen off, it's about to get lit.
I don't know who the fuck's buying that. Like, who would buy that for their kid unless you were just a devout Derek Johnson cocksucker? I don't know who's buying those. The book was pretty wild.
And they say that I'm a lunatic. Well, listen, bitch, I came equipped with a quick wit and a 6 cents for the stupid shit. Where my true believer? Y'all need Jesus. Praise the Lord and to the extreme. All these false fucking prophets who profit off of gossip. Worshipping drums, cocking, begging for a throat deposit. Swinging fucking meat hammers like Thor in a thong. He's strapped to the shaft, beating his chest like he's King Kong. Starving for attention, I'ma make your gut burst. I'll be your Huckleberry, I can quench that thirst. Baby eating lizard people, alien sex. What's next? Trump in a dress, fucking Flynn on his desk. A retard in a vest, climbing up 5G towers. Cause you told him if he did, he'd get fucking superpowers. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss them off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in them bets, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss them off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in them bets, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. I used to find clues.
Good night, guys.